I was browsing the news the other day and I saw this.
哪吒2has an Oscar buzz.
Yeah, baby.
Does that mean our animation finally get on the same stage with Hollywood movies? Don't be so thrilled too fast, because sweeties, it's not Hollywood, it's only Chinatown. Sure,哪吒 2 has some very impressive credentials, the highest grossing animated film in this category, the 5th highest grossing film overall, and is playing on screens across North America, UK, Australia, Japan, and Korea, everywhere. But exactly how many people have actually seen this film outside of China? Out of the total box office revenue of $21.5 billion, 97% came from mainland China alone, which means only 3% was contributed from audiences of other countries. So if it cost $11 per ticket, there are measly 4.6 million people paying for哪吒 2. For perspective, that's basically just the population of 2 Beijing districts, Chaoyang and Chunyi. And when I look at the Chinese film international box office rankings, I was shocked to find哪吒 2 sitting at just number 10. And get this, the top 1 spot is 卧虎藏龙, a movie from 25 years ago. In fact, none of the top 10 films on the list were made in the last 20 years except for哪吒 2. That means what哪吒 2 is experiencing isn't unique. It's the same dilemma Chinese cinema has faced for decades, trying to break into global markets. So before we celebrate making it in Hollywood, we need to ask a tougher question. Why do Chinese films still struggle to truly connect with global audiences? It's Nana Talk. Let's step in.哪吒 2 managed to secure screens in about 1,000 North American theaters. It's a record high for Chinese films in history. As a matter of fact, the remarkable 流浪地球 2 got into just 200 theaters in the US. It sounds impressive until you realize Captain America 4, which premiered at the same time with哪吒, was playing in 4,000 theaters. The screening rate is 16% versus 67%. It's not even a fair match. So why that happened? Why Chinese films couldn't get more screens abroad? Movie distribution works completely different around the world. China uses what I call the one-stop shop distribution model. Distributors send encrypted digital copies to all partner theaters. They just need to download the key to unlock. So it's a way to secure the basic but massive reach for movies' nationwide releases. Meanwhile, in the US and many Western markets, they're still doing things in a kind of old-fashioned way. Distributors must negotiate individually with each theater chain, and only the theaters that reach agreements could receive film copies. So the range of film distribution depends heavily on the movie's quality, distributors' resources, and the negotiation skills. Let's take a look-see at the international box office ranking again. The top 2 films, 卧虎藏龙 and 英雄, had Hollywood heavyweights Columbia Pictures and Miramax as their international distribution partners. These established distributors brought in massive theater networks, strong bargaining power, which of course could secure more box office. On the other hand, poor哪吒 2 is out there with CMC, a local Chinese distributor, trying to navigate international waters without the same muscles or connections. Besides, most distribution companies also do the marketing job, so that led to another reason that affects哪吒 2's overseas box office, which is rooted at the very beginning of filmmaking. For films targeting global audiences from day one, like the Marvel movies, right? Their international distribution and promotion plans kick off in the very early stage. In that way, Hollywood distributors are able to influence the script, the casting, marketing strategies, and everything, specifically to appeal to overseas viewers. But Chinese studios usually take international revenue as a bonus. They keep their focus laser-locked on the domestic market first, only considering the global release after seeing how films perform at home. This backwards approach means distributors typically jump in very late of the process. So for the case of哪吒 2, CMC, the distributor also in charge of promotion, they got the copy during Spring Festival, which was already pretty late. And they only got 2 weeks to finish reading, scheduling, marketing plans, premiere plans, social medias, and everything before the movie came out on February 14th in North America. I believe you can imagine how painful it was for CMC and their staff. And the even better thing, under budget. We don't know exactly how much money CMC spent on哪吒 2's promotion, but for the general cases, Chinese films usually allocate only 5% of their production cost to promotions. Meanwhile, American films hit 40 to 50%. That's a 10 times gap. There is this concept called cultural discount. It means how much value a film loses when crossing cultural boundaries. Well, apparently, English language films face minimal cultural discount globally. But Chinese films are actually seen as a minority language category. In particular,哪吒 2 is about Chinese traditional mythology, full of Chinese culture and philosophies. But right now, it only has English subtitles, but no dubbing version, which makes it even harder to follow for some of the foreign audiences. And this is why some opinions will say Chinese films are still for Chinese people overseas. Brutal, but true. Also, whether a Chinese film is popular highly depends on the fame of the cast. For example, who are the cast of the most foreigner-appealing film, 卧虎藏龙? There are 周润发, Yang Ziqiong, Zhang Ziyi. These actors and actresses have already made their strong presence in global cinematic landscape before they actually got the part at the movie. However, the movie itself has been seriously criticized to be essentially a Hollywood film created by a Chinese team. In fact, if you look at the Chinese film international box office rankings, all these movies up on the list are somehow catering to a certain stereotype of other cultures perceiving the Chinese. That puts Chinese films export into a dilemma. Should we echo to the stereotype to secure overseas box office? Or we stick to the authentic cultural essence until the world could really appreciate it? No answer, at least at this point. Don't overlook the streaming platforms. They can absolutely serve as complementary channels for international film distribution. This approach is particularly golden for low-budget Chinese productions looking to recoup investments from global markets. Studios can now deploy a hybrid strategy: theatrical release in China, then worldwide streaming distribution. Animations may really be the usher of Chinese film export. Animation films naturally carries lower cultural discount because they were made for kids at first. So they're born to have the universal theme for easy following and therefore appeal to broader age demographics. Just look at the success of Disney. Here are some numbers to prove my opinion. Shanghai just broke the 3-year box office record for Chinese films in France this March. The Japanese version of 白蛇缘起 released in Japan during summer 2021 and ranked as the second most popular animated film among Japanese viewers that year, out of the total 420 animated releases. So what do you think about the future of Chinese cinema going globally? Drop your thoughts below. Bye!